Tokyo Drew 85 here, back from a very long break, and today I thought I'd do a video about the top 3 things that bother me about retro gaming videos. So in the number 3 spot is I'll talk about just wrong information in a lot of these video game videos. So recently I came across a video that was talking about Castlevania. They were just going through the line of games, and they mentioned how like Castlevania Circle of the Moon, for instance, came out in 2000 and not in 2001. And again, it's a simple mistake, but you know, we live in the age of the internet now. Like a quick Google search on any of that could have, you know, cleared that up easily. There's just like no reason for like little mistakes like that, I feel like, nowadays, because the information is so accessible. Or like, for instance, Silent Hill 4. Where I've seen some videos saying that, you know, oh, Silent Hill 4 was never meant to be a Silent Hill, which actually is not true. I did a little deep diving about it myself and came across another very informative video about it. I forgot the YouTuber who posted it, but essentially it was always meant to be a Silent Hill game from start to finish. I guess people assume because it was so different, you know, when you're trapped in the room and you have the first person perspective, which is really the biggest difference in the whole game, that you just assumed that, oh, it wasn't meant to be a Silent Hill game. And that rumor kind of just perpetuated, and people just took it as fact, when it really isn't a fact. It was always meant to be a Silent Hill. It's just having the wrong dates on stuff. Oh, or thumbnails too. Thumbnails is another big one for me. Like, I always see a thumbnail, usually pertaining to like the franchises I love, like Mega Man, Castlevania, Resident Evil. I'll see a thumbnail with just like the wrong date or the wrong year on it. I mean, recently I saw a thumbnail about the evolution of horror games, and it had a thumbnail, it said 1980 and showed, you know, a creature from, ironically enough, Silent Hill 4. And I'm like, I mean, I get some stuff is clickbait, so I understand, like, you know, why someone would do that, because then if I see it, I know it's wrong, I want to click on it. So I do understand it, but it's still just annoying all the same. In the number 2 spot, I put generic video game criticisms, because I feel like I hear the same criticisms of the same games over and over again. Like, for instance, you know, again, because I'm passionate about Zelda 2 being a bad game. And honestly, for me, in comparison to 1, I think it's 1 a million times more playable than the first one, considering you could actually figure out where to go. You have townspeople that give you hints, whereas like in the first Zelda, it's like a desolate wasteland. There's just caves. There's actually no towns or villages anywhere in the entire game, and I feel like it's much more approachable. Or when people talk about Mega Man, they always say how bad, you know, Mega Man 7 and 8 are. In my mind, with both the games, it's like, have you played them? Because Mega Man 7 was really good. It, you know, it was a natural evolution of Mega Man into the 16-bit. They added a bunch of collectibles, like in the X games, how you collect the armor and the heart pieces. In Mega Man 7, you collect the rush plates to get the rush adapter, and they had a whole bunch of other little items here and there, you know, like an energy balancer, and you could unlock beat. Like things like that. And again, it's one of those things where I feel like people have the opinion, but like don't form it themselves. You know, it's just one of those popular gaming opinions that are just out there and they just grab onto it, because I feel like now, like anything, gaming is just like a culture. When I see franchises I care about, like Mega Man, Zelda, Resident Evil, I'll always spot stuff like that, and it always irked me. And in the number 1 spot, you know, why Sega failed videos. I feel like every retro channel, there's a rite of passage. They always have to make a why, you know, Sega failed video. And not that they're all inherently bad, it's just like a lot of the videos have the same information over and over again. Always Sega of America versus Sega of Japan, and you know, the Sega Saturn didn't do good in the West and had no games, and the Dreamcast, you know, was the final nail in the coffin. And a lot of the videos are the same, and again, not that they're wrong, but there are videos out there that have a different perspective. Like, you know, Sega Lord X made a video about it, and it was interesting because he was in his 20s during that era of gaming, so he had a totally different take on it. How essentially, you know, like the Saturn, you know, didn't follow up any of its, you know, of its popular titles on the from the Genesis to the Saturn. Like, there was no Sonic, no Streets of Rage, no, even though Chacon wasn't a great game. But the main point is that they didn't really follow up any of their franchises. I mean, there was a Golden Axe fighting game, and there was another Shinobi game. I hear wasn't good, but you know, I won't. You know, I'll reserve judgments for, you know, when I actually play it. But I thought he had the best video because, again, people always talk about the generic talking points about, you know, Sega of America and Sega of Japan, and, you know, the Dreamcast being the final nail in the coffin. And again, like, he brings up a really good point. No one really talks about the game lineup for the Saturn. And like, I thought, like, his perspective on it, again, because he was, you know, a young gamer through that era, which, you know, a lot of people, it's retroactive. You know, they do their research and, you know, they piece together, come to a lot of same conclusions. And again, not that the conclusions are wrong. I feel like, you know, again, he's an older gamer like myself, so he had a totally different perspective on it because he grew up during that era. And I feel like, yeah, with these, you know, Sega failed videos, I'm always stuck because I always wind up watching them anyway. I feel like very few of them are actually like from the perspective of a gamer from that era. Like him, he lived through the era, as opposed to like a younger, you know, channel doing it retroactively. And again, they're not bad. It's just like, I feel like, you know, for instance, Sega Lord's perspective is much more accurate, and it's a take that none of the younger gamers are going to have because they weren't alive in that era. And I've always, you know, valued and liked his videos because of it, because again, you know, he lived and existed through that era. So anyway, those are like my top 3 things that annoy me about modern retro channels. Give me a like, a subscribe, and have a good day. Thank you.